Hi, welcome to JadeKind Gaming. I am Adam. Happy New Year. And to start off the year, I'm going to be unboxing the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons starter set. I've been working my way through, I've pretty much read completely through the player's handbook, sufficiently skimmed the monster manual, and I've done my initial skimming of the Dungeon Master's Guide, which I will be reading through more thoroughly, and I'll be doing, I expect, reviews or praises of those. I've loved them. I am going to be moving back to Dungeons & Dragons from GURPS, but for Christmas, my brother got me a starter set, so I figure, why don't we check that out first? That's a good, easy way to start off the new year. So, let's go. Everything you need to start playing the world's greatest role-playing game. That's what it says. All of their core products in the set reference at that spot that it's the world's greatest role-playing game. The components are very simple. 6 dice, 5 characters, a rule book, and an adventure book. So, whatever. Nice sturdy box. I enjoy that. That'll be some iron starters and dice, yay! These are one of the main things I wanted. These are. I love just the color on these dice. They are such pretty. I like blue, and a blue with a good solid white. And these sort of have a bit of a. I don't know if you can tell, but they have like that sort of. I don't know. They're not a solid blue. They're sort of a mixture of different blues, and that's pretty. Alright. Oh yeah. Let's see. We got The Lost Mine of Phandelver. And essentially on its cover is where its table of contents is. And the back has a rules index. Which is probably good because this probably goes through in a weird order. Alright, Running Winter. Neverwinter Wood. Alright, so we got. Alright, that's something I'm not sure if the Dungeon Master's Guide has, is actually a map that shows the different hexes on whichever of the scales this is. But they do have whatever the different kingdom and continent or whatever scales. So that's cool to have something there just as a tool for utilizing that. Another map. Of course, there's an adventure in here. Like they have little tools, adventure maps, scale and grid, the compass rose. I think that art's in one of the other books. So yeah, they have the next stage of an adventure, important NPCs, town map. I don't actually run the adventure, so I'll probably utilize some of the maps. Honestly, if I get to the point where I think I might run an adventure, this will be one that I'll have, and I'll probably use this one. I don't know. It'll probably be better than buying a whole nother book. But I may strip it for ideas. Compared to the full rule books, this is certainly sparse with the artwork, but most of it is maps, and those weren't quite as common. But yeah, Cragmaw Castle. Big old dungeon cave. Hello. I know that art's in one of the other ones because I thought it was hilarious. Just the two folks planning their whatever they're gonna do there, and their companion just sort of, huh? All right, so we do get some magic items, and some basics on how monsters work. And here's some monsters, probably the exact ones needed for this adventure. But things like, let's see, and the rules index here, like the attack actions on page 10. Oh, right to it. So from what I gather, they've probably, yeah, they've mixed the rules right into the text. So this is not the best for getting the rules out, but they do have the basic rules, the free rules online, so that would be how you would go about that, I suppose. Alright, and we get the starter set rulebook. How to play, combat, adventuring, split. Okay, so most of it's going to be in here. This is where you'll get your basics for the rules. Yeah, okay. Much better. But yeah, actions in combat, movement, damage, healing, travel, rewards. Some equipment here, more equipment, spellcasting for cleric and wizard, some basic spells at low level, and the conditions. So that's more basic than the basic rules that they have online, but it's a physical product. Then we got our pre-made characters, which these actually might end up being used at some point. I do occasionally end up with people that decide, hey, I want to join, but have no idea what the game is about. So I may just sort of keep these in a folder with me in case one of them wants to hop in to a game. But basically the idea behind each character, which I'm going to do with the one that I like, because I like an elf wizard better, is they have, you know, the basic character sheet with, of course, their spells, with their attacks, and essentially all the rules are written out here. They have, of course, their role-playing info block here filled out to give the player a bit of an idea of playing the character. They do not have a character name. As much of the other details, the fact that whatever that the person uses, you know, polysyllabic words to convey the impression of. I chose the wrong one to read with a. That's not the. The fact that knowledge, the path to power and self-improvement is through knowledge, is their ideal. They decide that kind of aspect for the character, but they don't name the character, which I find weird. But anyways, all stats and all that's filled out. The basic on what an elf is, the naming block to help you figure out a name, basic on wizard, your background, and then they have, this is the big thing, they have up through level 5, gaining levels, that what experience and what bonuses you get, and they have that for each character. There's, of course, the High Elf Wizard, the Human Fighter, the Lightfoot Halfling Rogue, the Hill Dwarf Cleric, and another Human Fighter. One of them is like melee, the others, I think, ranged. And then they have this is, well, these are very papery. This is more plasticky kind of paper. We have whatever their advertisement for D&D Encounters with the D&D Encounters character sheet here, and below that is just a piece of cardboard to raise everything up in the box. But it does mean you can store more stuff in the box than it originally had in it. So, not a huge amount of stuff. Primarily, I mean, you get the pre-made characters, which, if you have people that don't feel like making characters, that can be great. Let them be lazy. You get a starter rulebook, which is okay if you're just going to play with this box. As far as using it like a board game, great. But generally it has less of the rules than the basic rules that they have available on their website. If you are looking to do an adventure, there is a pretty good low-level adventure in here. I say pretty good. There is a low-level adventure in here with pretty good maps that I may use for other things. And then, of course, the dice are beautiful. However, there's only one of the D10s. It's not a 7-set dice, it's 6-set dice. And there's not the D10 with the zeros to do percentiles. Which is odd, because I know in the full rules they utilize charts that have percentile. But whatever, you'd roll that one 2 times. You could manage it, but why not? Why cut out that one dice? Add the extra 90 cents, or whatever they want to do, to include. Anyways, but yeah, so, if you're just looking really to start with it, great. Otherwise, yeah, it's a adventure path with very basic rules. I suppose if you need to start someone new, good. Otherwise, if you've played Dungeons and Dragons in the past, or really any, you can just get the core rulebooks. Really, if you played any role-playing game, you could even just start with the free online basic rules. But it is pretty cheap, I believe. Compared to a lot of starter sets now, especially, they did keep it pretty cheap, which I've heard is why they didn't put maps and figures and all that, as they were trying to really keep the box cheap as a good starting point for people that didn't know if they'd like to play the game or not. But yeah, the Dungeons & Dragons starter set for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. I'll find a link where you can find it online. Check it out. Have a good day. Bye.